Make your way to your seats.
Showtime!
Please make your way to your seats. The show is about to begin.
Showtime!
Let the magic begin.
The Supreme Court protects the future of content moderation. The net choice decision means curating, compiling, and moderating a feed is a First Amendment protected activity. Have you?
This is scary.
Yeah, I haven't. I read about it. I've thought about it just a little bit because you gave this to me yesterday, and I want to hear your thoughts first.
So what I'm worried about is misinformation getting amplified, misinformation getting more focus, and just overtaking the truth. That's what I'm worried about. Like I get protecting First Amendment rights, right?
Yep.
But like what they're saying here is platforms will have the right to choose what speech to amplify or remove. It rejects government dictating balance of online speech. So like, yeah, social media firms have been pushing for this to have been battling regulation. So it's yeah, to me, it's scary. Maybe I'm not fully understanding it, but that's how I took it.
Well, when I read this, I took it that the companies themselves have the right to decide
Yes.
what to take down and what not to. And maybe as an extension of that, the government doesn't have the right to tell them what to take down and what not to.
That's exactly what I took from it as well. Yeah. Which means that misinformation, if these corporations are getting paid to push misinformation, they have the right to do whatever they want.
But at the same time, it's been proven that during the last election cycle, the Democrats deliberately threatened these social media companies to silence conservative voices. So how much and how far it's come out to prove that they've done that, I guess we're fighting all of these things. So, and misinformation, whose responsibility is it? Is it not the platform's responsibility as a whole to?
Yeah, it is.
That's why Twitter's done those community notes and stuff, so people can go in and put some of these things. So does it not give the companies more leeway to put the controls they want in place?
It does. I'm worried that they won't.
That's fair. That's absolute.
Because there's no repercussions then, right?
Yeah, I don't think the government did enough in the first place. But at the same time, what we just went through this whole controversial cycle with elections and COVID, and what was misinformation 2 years ago is not misinformation today. So the question is, where do you draw the line? I'm a free speech advocate because I think the more people talk, the more the crap will be pointed out. Yeah, this is not true because of this and this. The problem, I think, becomes now with AI and deep fakes and all that stuff, it becomes more and more harder to be able to go back and do the research and find out what's true and what isn't.
Yeah.
But other people have different opinions. They don't believe free speech all the way or to whatever degree. And they want to put limits about it. And that is not necessarily a bad thought. It's a question of where you stop.
Free speech. I hate the people who are trying to manipulate others. That's what I hate.
Yeah, but it happens so much. And what can you do about it? So you can, like in the U.S., you can put the Smith-Mundt Act back in, which was repealed, in 2012, which that stopped the U.S. government from propagandizing the U.S. population. And since they repealed that, they were allowed to do that. They said, oh, well, our stuff that we're sending out other countries is going to get to the U.S. anyway because of the internet. So they disabled it. So now they're allowed to lie whenever they want.
Yeah.
So maybe, putting some rules in place around that might help. But I agree. people need to be called out. We have rules around slander, libel, and all these other things, and we need to enforce them so that when people are misaligning people, we need to make sure that that is corrected. But I
I say let them do this, but implement a law that if they're found that they have what's the amplified misinformation without taking proper measures, like allow them to post whatever they want. But if you find that they are the cause or they are a problem that is amplifying misinformation, then fine them a shitload of money. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Yes. If it's clear that it's factual.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking about a historical event like this, this becomes my problem. Like I was just reading a bunch of stuff, you know, I don't want to be negative one way or other, but medications that were being used during COVID that were, you know, causing doctors to lose their license if they prescribe them have now been proven to be effective. But during that time, you know, if you talked about them or whatever, you were pulled down. It was called this, it was called that, it was all this stuff. But now, you know, we've got all the studies. Oh, yeah, it's okay. And we have it on the CDC. So I'm with you. The problem is that stuff would be fined and pulled down when it's information that may have saved some people's lives, even though it was pulled down due to other reasons. So the problem is the same thing could have been, it could have just been killing people too. So it could have been the other way around.
Like bleach in the veins.
Yeah, but I mean, who's crazy enough to think that that's a thing? And you know, but so there is a argument to be had on either side of this, especially in this TikTok. Anybody can go on the YouTube for 10 minutes and say whatever the heck they want, and as a result, you know, I say, you know what, I've got the new diet, how to lose 100 pounds in a month. I drink gasoline every day. Please don't do this. Don't do it. Don't do it. And blah, 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 blah. And people go out there and start doing that because, you know, all of a sudden they see a picture of skinny Craig when they know Craig's not skinny. Because I got some AI avatar sitting in for me, and we got people dying left and right. So, you know, where do you draw the line? What's actionable and what's not? And you have to kind of, there's some obvious ones and there are some very gray ones, which are a concern. And and it'd be nice if people were just honest about things, but unfortunately, that's not who we are as humans.
No, unfortunately.
So my concern was when I looked at this article, well, what does this do? Everybody claimed Title II when you are Facebook or Twitter or any of the social media platforms. Title II means it's common carrier, meaning we just carry the information. We don't create it. So we're not responsible for the stuff on it. So now they've said, okay, you have editorial discretion. You have all this stuff. What does this mean to their potential immunity for what is put on and what is left on their platform?
Yeah.
Which might be where it actually is more effective to your argument, when you're talking about getting rid of misinformation and getting rid of the lies, if you make the platforms responsible, that they are actually they have to moderate and take care of this, or legally they're going to be in trouble. Then they'll put the stuff in place where before they had common carrier. Hey, it's not we don't moderate. We don't do this. So I'm curious to see where this goes. It might turn out to be better, because they're now responsible for some of this stuff potentially and have to legally deal with it.
For sure. Yeah. Be interesting to see where it goes.